If you track your money once a week, you're already late.
Not late as in careless, late as in structurally behind. Because by the time most budgets notice a problem, the decision that caused it is already locked in.
Most people believe budgeting fails because of discipline.
They missed a category. They forgot to log something. They didn't stick to the plan. That explanation feels reasonable because the intent was there. But intent is not the failure point.
The real failure is quieter. Most budgeting systems assume something unrealistic about humans, that attention, memory, and timing are reliable. They aren't. Here's the conflict most people never see. Money changes continuously.
Human attention does not.
Spending happens in real time.
Review happens later, so the system is always reacting to the past while the pressure is building in the present. This creates a delay loop. And in any control system, delayed feedback is not neutral. It destabilizes. To understand why this matters, we need to be precise about timing. Manual budgets work like this. You act, time passes, you review, you adjust. The problem is not the adjustment. The problem is that the signal arrives after the action becomes irreversible. That makes every correction a late intervention. Late interventions don't restore control. They explain failure after it's already happened. Most budgeting systems quietly depend on one promise. I'll catch this later. Later this week. Later this month. Later during review. But later is not a control mechanism. It's a hope that memory will outperform momentum. And momentum always wins. This is why adding more effort doesn't fix the problem. More categories don't help. More frequent reviews don't help. More discipline doesn't help. They all increase decision load, and decision load introduces delay. The system becomes heavier exactly where it needs to be faster. This is where AI becomes relevant, not as automation and not as authority. An AI layer doesn't decide what to spend. It doesn't optimize outcomes. It doesn't replace judgment. Its role is timing. It observes continuously. It tracks state without fatigue. It surfaces friction before a decision compounds into a problem. That's the difference. Not intelligence, visibility. Think of it this way. Manual systems depend on memory. Memory is intermittent. AI-assisted systems depend on monitoring. Monitoring is continuous. When visibility is continuous, correction can happen before commitment. That's not automation. That's structural relief. AI doesn't fix spending behavior. It fixes the assumption that humans can reliably notice slow drift while living their lives. It removes the need to remember. It removes the need to check constantly. It removes the need to catch up. And that changes the entire stability profile of the system. This does not mean AI makes budgets perfect. It does not mean mistakes disappear. What it changes is when problems become visible, and timing determines whether a system can correct or only explain. So the question isn't, am I disciplined enough to budget well? The real question is, does my system see problems before I do or after? Because once visibility is delayed, decisions are always late. Manual budgets are not failing because people don't care. They fail because they rely on delayed awareness in a system that moves continuously. AI assistance matters not because it's smarter, but because it removes unrealistic timing assumptions. Stability doesn't come from better decisions.
It comes from systems that don't require decisions to stay stable.